Why do you think God took so much time condemning homosexuality? He does so multiple times in the Bible, but there's not a single scripture dedicated to condemning slavery.
He was bringing the people closer and closer and closer to the desired outcome. And
So how do
so
you do
it
that?
was baby steps
How
rather
do
than
you do
everything
that?
all at once.
How do you do that? By explaining to them how they can do it, who they can do it to, and that they can get away with it if they can get away with torturing and beating the slaves if they live.
You can believe that as a Catholic, but it's not, we don't dogmatize science. We don't, that's not our domain. That's just not our domain. We wouldn't dogmatize
I know,
science.
I get it. You've gotten it wrong so many times. You guys stay away from it. I would too. Why do you think God took so much time condemning homosexuality? He does so multiple times in the Bible, but there's not a single scripture dedicated to condemning slavery, and there's actually multiple explaining how you can do it.
Sure. So this is where we're going to talk about products of their time. We have these things called disciplines and prudential judgments. And it may be that there's a moral principle that we allow for certain ways to apply it given the circumstances. So, like a good example of this is the death penalty. The church used to say that it was totally fine for the state to do the death penalty in light of the fact that we couldn't, stop these people necessarily from committing mass crimes. We didn't have the prison systems that we have in the modern day. And so now that we have those prison systems, it's no longer admissible to support the death penalty. And so at the time, as God was working with the Israelite people, that's when most of the slave verses you're referring to take place. They were in a certain climate, we should say, social climate, to where God didn't give them the full moral truths all at once. He unfolded it over time. So
Right. So homosexuality before slavery, right? That's the bigger one. Let slavery happen. That's cool, but homosexuality, we got to take care of that one, right?
I mean,
Why? Why does that take priority?
I don't know the ways of God. I can't say why which rules were given at what point. Why didn't we have Jesus at the beginning? Why?
Right.
There's a lot of things we
Do
could
you think
question.
God thought slavery was morally permissible and homosexuality wasn't?
No,
Then why did he permit it? Why did he explain how to do it in multiple scriptures?
he explained ways of how to do it, going back to the principles of human dignity and how to do it in ways that weren't as egregious as like what we would see in like the antebellum South, for instance. And
No.
so
He specifically tells you how to do it. There's also times where he explains like you can go into war and like the virgin women you can take, and then like that's in Deuteronomy, and then in Numbers he explains how you can sell those. You can sell the people you take. So like no, no, he's talking about owning people as property. There's scriptures where he talks about you can beat them within an inch of their life, and if they live, you shouldn't be punished, right? You shouldn't be given the rod. Why? Why, if he doesn't think slavery is morally permissible? Why all of that?
yeah, like I already answered. I said that he was bringing the people closer and closer and closer to the desired outcome. And
So how do
so
you do
it
that?
was baby steps
How
rather
do
than
you do
everything
that?
all at once.
How do you do that? By explaining to them how they can do it, who they can do it to, and that they can get away with it if they can get away with torturing and beating the slaves if they live.
I don't understand what you mean. How do you do that? Like I
How is
said,
that getting
he
them
could have
towards the
said,
desired outcome of no
he could
slavery?
have, for instance, we have like the 7 year Jubilee, where you let the slave go at the seventh year. And so he could have said, you can own them for any time for whatever, blah, blah. He
Right,
could have
right.
had
But what
no
else does he
rules.
say in that?
And so
What else does
there's
he say in that?
rules and
What does he
regulations.
say about the slave that wants to keep his wife at the end of the 7 years? What does that slave have to do?
Well, if the slave
What
wants to
does
keep
that
his,
slave have to do?
yeah, if the slave wants to keep
If
his
he wants to
wife, then
keep his wife, yep, he has
he
to
has
what? He
to
has
announce his
to.
allegiance to his
Okay, he has to
master.
stay a slave. Yeah.
And
So you were conveniently not going to point out that part.
well, it wasn't
So
relevant to
why?
what I was
How
saying. My
does
point
how
was
does no? So
there are
here's
rules and
right,
regulations. That's my
right.
point.
That God set forth. Couldn't he
Yeah,
just
and
that this
I'm
isn't permissible? Why would he set
yeah,
forth?
like I said, he could give us complete moral perfection rules at the very beginning, for all of us to uphold to in
Sure.
perpetuity.
So
But that's not what
why
happened. Like I
rules and
said, it was a
guidelines?
gradual.
Why rules and guidelines about slavery, but outright banning homosexuality?
Well, like I said, I don't know what reasons he chose for which things. I'm not God. I just
Okay.
know
Right.
that a lot of these rules and a lot of the Levitical law was shadows and types for what was to come later in a better covenant, and so what we have now. So I don't know why I don't know why shellfish and not cuttlefish. I don't know the ins and outs. I'm not God, and we're not Jewish. We don't have to uphold to these laws either. But
Right,
this
except for the
was,
fact that Jesus said he wasn't going to change not jot nor tittle of the old
yeah,
law. But
he would fulfill the law, which
yeah,
he
so
did.
more on homosexuality. It's natural, it's a norm. Statistically, it produces either equal or better outcomes than heterosexual couples. For instance, like male households actually have like the highest income in America, for instance. So, what is the religious justification for what I would call homophobia, right? But for not allowing gay marriage or whatnot, other than literally, it just boils down to it makes you guys uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's what to make sure the question is just why no gay
Like I
marriage,
obviously,
or
yeah, like I obviously understand just like it's based in your spirituality, but like what is the reasoning given that it's both natural and norm and statistically produces better or equal outcomes?
yeah, I mean the reasoning would be that marriage is defined as um, a man and a woman coming into unity, um, and we define love as Catholics as willing the good of the other. So both of them are willing the good of the other and trying to
Right. But
sanctify them and get them
why is what I mean.
heaven. What do you
Why
mean
is it
why?
defined? Why specifically is it defined man and woman?
That's divine revelation. That's how God defined it.
Right. But why?
I I'm not God. Why did why did you wear that blue shirt? You would have to tell me. God would have to tell us. I can't explain divine revelation from the mind of God. I'm not the mind of God.
Okay. So do you often in your life believe things without reason?
It's not, I mean, it's not without reason. I have a lot of reasons to believe it because I have a lot of reasons to believe the Catholic Church.
Like, so, okay, hold on. You said that God, you believe that gay people can't get married because
Yes.
marriage is defined as a man and a woman,
Yes.
but you don't know why. So you
What do you
believe
mean I
that
don't know
marriage
why? I don't know why what?
because God hasn't
I
revealed
don't know
it.
why he defined it that way?
Yeah. And
Yeah, but what is
yet,
the
yet
relevance
you
to
believe
that?
it. Yet you believe that it's true.
Yeah, because I
So
believe the
you have no
person who
reason.
told.
It's just
No, because I believe the person who told it to me. It's like
right,
saying my
right,
if I go to take my
right.
car to the shop and they tell me my carburetor broke, I don't know if that's a real thing. My
So
carburetor broke. I don't know why,
okay,
but I still
so
believe
should
that
you
they
okay, so you should believe any claim from an
no
arbiter in which you trust.
from an arbiter in which you trust. I mean, that
Yes,
would be trust.
any claim without evidence or anything else, anything from
Depends
anyone you
on. I
trust.
mean, it's gonna depends on trust how much, I guess. But
Right. So,
yeah, I mean,
like you,
somebody that you would trust fully, then yeah, but not if you don't trust them fully.
so okay, so someone you trust fully can never lie to you.
If you trust them fully, they can lie to you, but you trust them.
Okay,
That's, I mean, it's like my wife could be cheating on me, but I
you
trust that
don't
she
think
isn't.
that's problematic to believe someone without
No,
evidence,
because no,
reason, or anything, just
I mean,
because
it's not
you
without
trust
evidence.
them.
Like I said,
It is without evidence.
no, because they have proof of
Trusting the
concept.
person telling
They have proof
you,
of concept because they've shown me other things that are true and that that I've witnessed as true, and so they have a track record. So it's
they
not
also
based
say
on
things that are
nothing.
false, though, right? God said things that's not
N-
true.
not from my point of view. No, I wouldn't
Okay,
say
so
that.
the earth came before the sun.
I don't think that that was literal. Literal. The Bible is
Oh,
analogical.
oh,
The
okay,
Bible is
right, right.
analogical
So how do
because
you, okay, so then there's a good one. How do you differentiate between what's literal and not?
yeah, I mean that's what the church is for.
Okay, the church who has interpreted it many things wrong, right?
Yeah, but not dogmatically. Only
Okay,
personal
so
opinions.
why did the church not believe that the sun came before the earth?
Like I said, I mean
Because it
the
was in the Bible,
church.
right? Because they
No.
dogmatically believed what was in the Bible. That's exactly why they
I
pushed
mean, it's
back
not a
against
dogma.
Galileo,
Like I said, they don't
right?
dogmatize science. So that's just a bunch of people having individual beliefs who are in the same institution, but they're not. It's not like a law of the institution that you must believe this. That's not one of the beliefs.
Sure. So that kind of goes into my next question. Shouldn't the correct position be I will believe X claim, any position once the evidence warrants it, rather than your religious faith kind of leading you to I will believe X claim despite what the evidence warrants because of who told me?
Well, I don't know about despite what the evidence warrants. There's nothing that I believe despite evidence in the contrary, that the church requires me to believe. So, um, what was the root question there?
Shouldn't the correct position be you will believe X position or claim once the evidence warrants it?
I mean, I think that's a reasonable starting point for
Okay.
sure.
So then, I mean, that just contradicts what you just said, though, because you don't have
Well, no, because
evidence to warrant
no, I
that
do.
marriage
You're
is a man or
discounting.
a woman.
No, you're discounting because so let's take it this way. For
That's not
instance,
evidence. Okay, wait here. No, let's start here. What's evidence to you? What do you define evidence as?
oh, uh, I would probably just use the Google definition, whatever that would say. I mean, evidence is I don't know what word to use. Objects, the available body of facts or information that indicate whether a belief or proposition is true or valid. That would
Right,
be a decent.
right. So divine
Uh,
revelation isn't a fact, right? That's a faith thing. You believing
well,
divine revelation is a faith thing.
well, okay. So the problem is you're starting too far down the line because you have to start with why did I come to believe the church, and that is based on historical attestation and historical fact, the same way that I would believe that Abraham Lincoln existed. And so we have to start further back in the line to get to, well, I accept these bodies of
Right,
facts, and these bodies of facts necessitate this body of facts.
except for all the parts that the church has gotten wrong historically that you just said doesn't matter because it's not
What do
in
you? I
the
didn't.
very niche thing that you said is the only part you guys care about.
You're mixing. They didn't get their historical documentation wrong. They got their understanding of science wrong on a personal level. The individuals of the church did, but that's
Well, they
completely
also
separate.
just dogmatically denied reality with all evidence in front of them for many years in terms of like heliocentrism and geocentrism
Yeah,
specifically.
I mean,
But in terms of other things,
what's that have to do with
divine
me?
creation over evolution, I mean, that's one we're still fighting. But I think the church is kind of like, I don't even know. I think the churches, they don't, it's not at least a big thing for me anymore, but that used to be a big thing. And trying to get it in schools, in
Oh,
terms
I
of
mean, that's
trying
not.
to
Yeah,
talk
that
schools
creation
over
is.
evolution.
Yeah, like young Earth creationism is typically a orthodox or evangelical thing. It's not really like I said. You can believe that as a Catholic, but it's not. We don't dogmatize science. We don't. That's not our domain. That's just not our domain. We wouldn't dogmatize
I know
science.
I get it. You've gotten it wrong so many times. You guys stay away from it. I would too.